Hello everyone, this is Bentley from Kent, Washington, and I wanted to do a couple quick updates around my fish room. We're going to start with the guppy tank. This is right in the morning as they're all waiting to be fed. You can actually tell only one of the two lights is on, so like they look really dark up front, but you look in the back and that boy is like nicely lit up. But we had kind of an explosion of new babies, and we're in the process of doing some extra planting to this tank. So I just kind of wanted to shoot a quick video before I ran out the door for work. You can see here in the back as I zoom in by that autosync list, there's tons of little babies, and then we'll kind of pan down here. You can see even more babies down near these lotuses, and then like a super gravid mom hiding in one of the new plants that's in here. This is a micro version of Mirio, so it's Myriophyllum, and this particular species is the mini Guyana. I actually got this plant from Rice Family Aquatics. I want to package through them for kind of a beginner plant package type thing. Although they want our beginner plants, but it's kind of a little deal they do on Facebook every once in a while. So if you've ever wanted a chance to win some free plants, check out Rice Family Aquatics. They're really cool. But this plant's really cool. It stays very small. You'll notice it throws lots of side runners, but it doesn't get very tall. So if you like the look of Mirio but don't like how big it gets, try this stuff out. And then also, I've been playing with some 4K video. I found out I can shoot 4K at pretty reasonable frame rate on my phone, and I was playing with it again in the morning. So here is my 90-gallon tank with a bunch of young adult rainbow fish that are growing out. And I think I have 6 or 7 different species in here, as well as big old cycles zipping around. um, but so I'll kind of go through some of the ones as you just see the color that this picks up. And this is again in the morning when they're waiting to be fed. So light hasn't been on too terribly long. This is when rainbows are going to be at their best color, aside from when males are trying to entice females to breed. Then of course that's going to be the absolute pinnacle of color, is when the males are trying to entice females for breeding. So we've got dwarf neons in here. We have some Wapoga red lasers in here. We have Harvey Creek McCullochais, which are the silver with black stripes and the red fins. I have a Tinjo bosemannais that come from Rosario LaCourte's strain. They're down toward the bottom, and you can also see down there is a Millennium Red Rainbow, and he's just really knockout color for a young adult. His whole body is red, where like Irians, it takes a long time for them to do that. We'll kind of zoom in here, and you'll see like there's the dwarf neon rainbows. There's that Millennium Red right in the center, little turquoise zipping through, big old cycles, can't miss him. And then two of my boy Atinjos, and you can see the guy over here who hasn't roughed himself up when he was originally growing out in quarantine. And you can see that just beautiful reddish orange, lovely kind of blues and green tones in the front. And then here is like maybe like my one of my prize jewels. This is one of the Wanamensis. If you'll recall watching those grow up, and sorry for some of the glare. As cycles tracks, we're going to track one of the two major Wanamensis boys in this tank. There's actually 3 males that are in there, but you can see he's got those lovely, lovely green colors, a little bit of orange in his fins, and you can see the other male that's just come in. There's also kind of some small copper tones. You notice this male doesn't have all the orange in his fins, so this would actually be the one that I would select for breeding, because technically the orange isn't what I would look at as a desire for this bloodline. And then speaking of rainbows, I have brand new ones. So these, and it's going to be hard to see them. This is the first day they hatched from eggs. You can see at the very bottom of the screen little strands coming from the spawning mop between that Anubias and Sawasser tang down there. And if you look carefully enough, you're going to start seeing these like what looks like little pencil streaks swimming around. Those are brand new, hatched that day. This is a shot in the afternoon when I had gotten home from work yesterday. So that's the 10th of May. Um, and then as I kind of zoom in here, you look above the Sawasser tang, you're going to see a little bit better zoom, and you can see a couple babies swimming around. These guys are absolutely tiny, tiny, tiny when they hatch, and all rainbow fish are like this. They're very small, so you have to feed them very small foods. Things like ceramicron, golden pearls. Those are types of flake food that are, as the names imply, at micron size. They're very tiny, very finely powdered. Things like vinegar eels, infusoria. So what I have in here is I have some detritus left over on plants, little bits of algae. That's going to cause infusoria. There is infusoria in this tank for them to eat, as well as I'm feeding ceramicron. I have a culture of vinegar eels that I'm going to start harvesting in about another day or so. And as more and more eggs hatch, they'll have plenty of live food. It'll take me about 2 weeks until most of the rainbows get to the right size to where I can then move on to live baby brine shrimp. And I mean, it's pretty serious. It takes at least a week. Usually, you want to be safe and play about 2 before you can feed live baby brine because they're so small they can't fit them in their mouths. You have to have seriously tiny micro foods. Now we're going to switch to another shot at going from one glare to another one. This tank is right by a set of um, facing windows that are facing west, so they get sunset. So in the afternoon, they get the most sun, and you can see my hands and my phone and my shirt just ripping off this glare. But you can see all the babies floating around, and this is the next day, so this is the morning of the 11th. And you can see there's about 10 babies so far, and these were all the eggs in this mop were laid over about a week and a half. And it takes 7 to 14 days to hatch rainbow eggs. So over the next basically 2 weeks, I'll be hatching eggs out of this mop. My goal is to get something like 30 fish out of it. And if I only get say 20, that's perfectly fine. I'm already at 10. So I'm really thrilled about that. And they were literally hatching almost as soon as they hit fresh water and got out of their bag from shipping from the guy that I picked them up from. But these are Chiloptherina fasciata calibiru, which is a really, really cool fish. And you'll get to see it grow up. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and be watching for another video here very shortly this weekend.